Hello, Pastor Steve Waldron here with New Life Pentecostal Church in Albany, Georgia. Today we're going to take a look at a false doctrine known as serpent seed doctrine, the seed of the serpent doctrine. What serpent seed is, I'll give you a brief overview, is they would say that Eve made love to the serpent in the garden. That the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, knowledge, they would say that in Genesis 4:1, when it would say Adam knew his wife, they say knowledge, see, it's a sexual thing. And so as a result of that, they would say that there are two types of people on earth. There are people that are the seed of the woman, and then there's those that are the seed of the serpent. They would say this still exists to this day. Now, obviously, there's a problem that immediately arises. Well, how did this seed make it through the great worldwide flood to where there's still the seed of the serpent today? Well, they've got a ready answer for that. They say it must have been Ham's wife who was impregnated by one of these seeds of the serpent. And she brought the seed over to the other side of the flood. Now, how much scripture is there for that? It is called zilch, nada, zero, none. There's no scripture. That's just a supposition. They don't like what Ham did in Genesis chapter 9, so they're like, well, he must be the evil, wicked one, and just make that assumption. Then you get to John chapter 8, and Jesus said, "You're of your father, the devil." To them, that would not be allegorical or metaphorical, that would be literal. And then you would go into 1 John 5 or 1 John 3 as well, when it says, "You're of your father Cain." That Cain would have been the seed of the serpent. And they would also say that Cain and Abel would have been twins, but non-zygotic twins. That Abel would have come through Adam, but Cain would have come through the intercourse of the serpent with Eve. Now, let's just take a look, and I know there's friends out there that believe this. Branhamites believe this. Believe it or not, many Orthodox Jews believe this as well. But let's take a look at this. First of all, is there any evidence at all that Satan can procreate? The answer to that is no. First of all, can a serpent mate with a human? No. People say, well, it's supernatural. Satan can do it. So you're telling me that angels, which Satan is a fallen angel, cherub more specifically in all probability, that he was born with a reproductive system, a physical reproductive system. Now the retort to that is, well, man did eat angels' food. If man could eat manna, Jesus could eat bread after his resurrection and fish, then maybe a honeycomb. I can't remember now what Jesus said. But anyhow, then yes, they seem to have a GI tract, a physical GI tract. Well, it's different eating the corn of heaven and reproduction, especially when in Scripture it is very clear that angels neither marry nor are given in marriage. So, implying reproductive capabilities. So, that's the first thing. You can't prove that that actually happens, that angel spirit beings can mate, serpents can mate with humans. Evidence would be greatly against that, as a matter of fact. Tremendously against that. Secondly, you're having to say the Hebrew word yada always means sexual intercourse, when it almost never means sexual intercourse. The fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Like when it says Noah looked out and he had knowledge over the waters. Well, does that mean Noah had intercourse with the waters? Of course not. And so, very few times does it actually refer to an act of intercourse. So, you might say, well, why did Jesus call the Pharisees sons of the devil? Well, there was a battle in Romans chapter 8, if you'll read the context, and it was very clear he was indicating virgin birth by God. And so the Pharisees kind of say, no, we were also born not of fornication. There was actually a sect of Judaism in the first century that believed that they were so holy, they were not born of fornication. But it means the son of their actions. It has to do with mankind's sinful nature. It has nothing at all, anything to do with what happened before the flood and in the Garden of Eden. So, to our friends that believe the serpent seed doctrine, I know you've got a scripture in Ezekiel you like to appeal to as well. Just know that it's allegorical. You can't consistently keep this thought process. You're making leaps and jumps of logic, saying Ham's life was infected, all of these kind of things. You're making assumptions, saying that the serpent can even have intercourse and have procreation. To say that Cain and Abel are twins and these type things. And maybe some of you might not say they're twins. Maybe Cain came first and Abel second. Look, it's not scriptural. People are in sin. They're born in sin, shaped in iniquity. They have a human fallen nature about them. That's what these references are to. Has nothing to do with intercourse with Eve in the Garden of Eden with the serpent. So pray about it. This leads to many other false doctrines. It also leads to a spiritual elitism, that you're the only ones that have the truth, blah, blah. So let God get you out of that error. And God, before I stop, another thing is it strikes at the very heart of Calvary. Because you're saying that the seed of the serpent that's still alive today cannot be saved, and Jesus did not die for them. Many of you are saying that. Most of you are saying that. You're saying that. Jesus only died for those that came through humanity's seed, not serpent seed. This is so David Icke-ism. Reptilian shapeshifters that are the global elite and all this. It's craziness. It's stupidity. It's nutcase. Look, it didn't happen. Jesus died for all. He died for every person. He died for Pontius. He died for the Pharisees. If he hadn't died for the Pharisees, how did Paul get saved? Paul may have been there that day in an argument with Jesus in John chapter 8. You don't know if he was or not. So of course Pharisees could be saved. How could they say that a great company of the priests were saved in the book of Acts? A great company. If they were seeds of the serpent that Jesus didn't die for. Come on. God bless you. I love you. And don't write nasty comments at the bottom of this. Just make your own video and we'll watch that. God bless you.